Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ontario Cryptids. Today marks episode 155. If you're new to my channel, every fifth episode I thank those who have commented regularly on my last 5 videos or shorts. So let's get started. A special shout out goes out to Bender, Cathrine White, CWL, Diana Clark, Jean, Hector Borrero, Jeffrey Vigil, Jeramiah Rueb, Jill, Jim Condon, Joe, Jor Skinner, Keith Blount, Philly Girl, Real Thruth, ShirleeKnott, Sir Roy, Terry Doherty, Tom Emody, and Tom Michael. I sincerely want to thank everyone who leaves a like and comments. Also, thanks to all the recent subscribers and the rest of you who come back each week to watch these episodes. Okay, if you have an encounter story that you would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I would be honored to share your story with like-minded people. Now, sit back and relax as we begin with today's clips and encounters. I thought I would post this photo of a trail cam taken in Utah. This was posted on Reddit a few days ago. The original shot was from March 7th of 2017. It was posted by a group that defunks trail cam photos, but this one puzzled them, so they posted it on Reddit to see if anyone else could make heads or tails of it. To me, I can see one black bear, but I'm not sure what the other creature is. What do you think it is? This next one was posted on Reddit by user Gasp Gauge, and he was basically recording the plane to test out his new camera settings. So he observed something unusual after recording the shot in 4K 60 FPS. Again, I'm going to apologize. It looks like all of my clippings, the sound was muted. I know one of them had music, so I would have muted that one anyways, but this one really didn't have much audio. For all of these clips that I have, there will be a link in the description below if you want to go and look at the original clip. Now, you see a plane moving in the sky, but what you also see is an object coming in from the bottom right-hand corner and shooting on a diagonal to the top left-hand corner. But then it sort of boomerangs and it comes back down, but it looks like it comes back down in multiple pieces. It looks like different objects shooting down. Anyways, I'll let this play through so you can take a look at it for yourself. This next clip was posted by a YouTube channel called Final Score Products on October 22nd of 2009. This is a stabilized version of a footage of Champ, the lake monster living in Lake Champlain. Lake Champlain mostly lies between the U.S. states of New York and Vermont, but also extends north into the Canadian province of Quebec. Now, over the years, there's been hundreds of sightings of Champ in Lake Champlain. These sightings have dated all the way back to the indigenous people that lived along and hunted near Lake Champlain. Now, let's take a look at this clip. This first encounter takes place in November 2013, and we're going to Cherokee County, Texas. The closest town city is Jacksonville. I lived in a lake cabin for my first year of college. The lake and surrounding lands are owned by a hunting club that has been around since the lake was built in the 1930s. My closest neighbor was an older gentleman that had lived most of his life on this property. He always reminded me to take some kind of protection when I went hiking. I never pay him too much attention. In 2013, in early November, I can't remember the date, I decided to go hiking that afternoon around 2 p.m. I was headed out the door walking past my neighbor's house and waving at him as I made my way to the trailhead. I hung my orange flag on the post to let people know I was hiking on that part of the property in hunting season. No flags were on the post when I got there, so I know I was the only one on that particular part of the property. When I was there, it was a small hunting club with only 20-ish members, so if someone was on the hill besides me, it was unlikely. So I continued on the trail about a mile to the first plot where I usually crept around the corner before I got there because there may be some deer that I would stop and watch from a distance. This time, there were no deer, so I started to walk the plot. Now, I'm going to take a second to describe the immediate geography of this part of the property. The trail hugged the side of a hill at this point. I was near the top. The feed plot was just off to the left of the trail, and immediately to the right of the trail, the hill dropped off pretty harshly to a wash that ran to the lake. I would say it dropped about 25 feet to the bottom of the wash, and it was steep enough that if I fell in, I would not be able to climb back up to the trail. So I started to walk into the clearing feed plot, then outside of a pump jack that was about 300 yards away that constantly ran because it was automated. Everything went quiet. Birds stopped chirping, squirrels got still. I was being watched by something. The woods just don't go silent like that, so I immediately went on guard. At this point, I was standing in the middle of the feed plot, 20 yards away from the tree line in any direction. Scared, I turned around to see if I could retreat back to where I came from. Because I had nothing on me, I was ill-prepared to defend myself if I needed to. After I turned around and saw nothing behind me, but not sure what was watching, I quickly walked back to the tree line. The moment I got back to the tree line facing the direction of the trailhead, I heard what sounded like something of a low grumbling whoop to my right side, hillside of the trail. And I froze. Taking a second to collect my thoughts, I walked right past this thing, and it's between me and the house. I made the decision to confront it, thinking it may be a black bear. They are rare in that part of Texas, but people see them from time to time. I'm 6 foot 2 inches tall and 240-ish pounds at this point. This is what you're supposed to do with a black bear, and hogs, wolves, mountain lions don't make the sound I just heard. So I yelled, "Hey, this is my hill!" And it stepped out from behind a pine tree about 10 yards to my front and right, and yelled back at me. It was a lot bigger than me. After that, it took one step over the trail and jumped to the bottom of the wash. I could hear it running on 2 feet for a few seconds. I ran back to the house. My neighbor said he heard a deep echoing yell before he saw me running home. I was scared out of my mind. I didn't go hiking again that year. This creature had auburn brown hair, 7 to 8 feet tall, had breasts and large teeth in the canine position, looked like what would fit the traditional description of Bigfoot from other stories I've heard. This last encounter takes place in June of 2014. We're going to Gonzales County, Texas, and we're heading to Palmetto State Park. My husband and I decided to go to Palmetto State Park on our way home from New Braunfels to enjoy a nice hike. We began our hike at the beginning of San Marcos River Trail. We were the only ones on the trail that day. At the beginning of our hike, my husband noticed what looked like an extremely large footprint to the left of the trail. We didn't think much of it and kept on our journey. We came to a spot where you can walk down to the river and swim or fish. We both walked down to the bank to the river to check out the spot. After taking a small break, we started back up the bank. I was in front of him when I heard him holler that somebody had just thrown a large rock at him. I thought he was trying to scare me, so I didn't pay much attention. When we got to the top of the bank to the trail, he told me that something had thrown a large baseball-sized rock at him, which hit right behind him in the sand and rolled down the hill. He was visibly upset. We continued on our hike. While on the San Marcos River Trail, we continued to hear noises in the woods and breaking sticks, but contributed it to local wildlife. Then we heard a large howl. It was similar to that of a cow, but different. Now, I know there are cows in the area, which we heard and saw many times during the hike, but I know what a cow sounds like, and my husband grew up around and currently works in the slaughter business, so he has heard every sound a cow can make. What we heard was not a cow. We heard this howl once while on San Marcos River Trail, and then again when we cut off onto Mesquite Flats Trail. While on Mesquite Flats Trail, we continued to be observant of our surroundings, but enjoying our relaxing hike. Somewhere on the trail, not far past one bridge, but before another, we both heard a loud crack and falling of a large limb out of a tree right by the end of the first bridge, on the trail we had just crossed. We then heard something running through the woods. It was not like a person running, but was also not like a deer. It was a loud thump sound when whatever it was hit the ground. My eyes immediately scanned the tree line and focused in on a tall black something. I could clearly see the thing run past and between trees. It was tall and black, but very fast. It was faster than a person. It was not a deer because I could see its silhouette. It was not long. It was not a hog because it was tall and not long like an animal. I was watching it pass through the trees when it just disappeared, like it had stopped or something. I was in shock by what I had just seen. My husband and I walked back to where the limb had hit the ground to see if we could see anything. Unfortunately, we did not have any binoculars, but off in the distance where the thing disappeared from my sight, it appeared to be some type of black thing either crouched or standing completely still beside a tree. We decided it was best that we make our way to the trail and head to the end, but we kept watching over our shoulder at the black thing that we saw by the tree. The tree got thick and we could not see through for a moment, But when we got to another opening, we attempted to find the black thing by the tree we just had seen, and it was no longer there. We continued our walk with a lot to talk about. Once we crossed onto the Ateen Swamp Trail, we heard the howl again, but close and clearer than before. We continued our hike with no other incident or noises. It was the strangest thing I have ever seen in my life. I hope you guys enjoyed these 3 clips and the 2 encounter stories as much as I enjoyed sharing them with you. This upcoming week, I will have some shorts by Terry Doherty, and next week I will share his encounter stories and another one from Joe. So make sure you don't miss out on this week's shorts because they are very strange and unusual. I know you will love them. Also, thanks again for the great views we are getting on these shorts. Okay, if these stories remind you of an encounter that you may have had and would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I would be honored to share your story on this channel. Thank you all for listening until the end. I truly appreciate it. Please hit the like button on your way out and smash the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Speaking of new to my channel, it would appear that 91.3% of my returning guests are not subscribed. So if you are one of those 91.3%, then smash the subscribe button and become one of the OC community members. Okay, that's all I have to say on that topic. So have a great weekend, and I hope to see you all next week right here on Ontario Cryptids.